Well, first you must be aware there are stories. And if you are a small business manager or entrepreneur, you are a story. And the fewer you are, if you are alone or just a few people, your own story takes more space because you are the story. And then to tell a story, you might say, well, I got the idea that I wanted to start with handicraft because I've always been interested in handicraft. That is not a story. That is information about you. Then I would ask to you, why do you like? Can you tell me about some magic moment who made you like handicraft and this kind of handicraft? Perhaps you have a grandmother or something like that, I don't know. Or perhaps you read a book. Or perhaps you saw somebody with beautiful clothes and you just felt, oh, they are so beautiful, I want to make them, but I want to make them in a 2010 way of fashion, or whatever it is. Tell me and the customers and everybody about those magic moments that made your business grow and start. That's important. And then you should listen to what people say. Of course, a satisfied customer is very nice. You get a mail, you get a phone call, you meet somebody with your clothes. You see somebody, if it's clothes, for example. You see somebody on the street with your leggings with Estonian folkloristic design or something like that. Perhaps you go up to her or him and ask them, well, actually, I made this design. And perhaps they might say, oh, well, I love it so much. I'm so happy about this. Thank you very much. That's a story. And you should not be ashamed of telling stories which makes you beautiful and successful. You must do that. That's a part of it. To tell the good stories about you and your company. And the smaller you are, the more I think you must involve yourself. Some people who are into design, they use their own name for the design. And when I talk to them, I say, if you use your own name in your design, then you have, I think, agreed to put some kinds of your person and perhaps even your privacy a little bit into your brand. If you don't want to be identified that close, perhaps you should not use your own name in your brand. That's things to think about. Well, then you build a little repertoire of stories, and some people have heard you tell this story over and over again. You shouldn't care. Tell it over and over again, because if you know what stories, if you believe that you have some good stories that is important for your company and your business, tell them over and over again. If you have customers coming to your place or into your shop or whatever it is, train yourself to tell the stories. Because they always ask something. Well, how long have you been working here? Or do you have many customers? Or how are your affairs going and so on? You can always train yourself to involve those stories in your stories, because they will take them and use them, and they will be ambassadors if they like you and your products. But you must give them the stories to give them wings. And of course you have a homepage on the internet, but perhaps you have some kind of Facebook connection and things like that. Don't inform in a traditional way, but try to get your stories spread also on the internet, because I think Facebook with 500 million people is the third biggest country in the world, and everybody has chosen to be a part of Facebook. Those 500 million people. I think it's totally fantastic. And of course 500 people is a market. And to be seen on a market, you must tell a story. And you must affect them. So use the stories. Use them in your family life, and use them all the time. And train yourself to be a storyteller. And, which is very important, I've said it before and I say it again, to be a storyteller, you must be a story listener. So train yourself to listen. Take care of if you have some email contact with your customers, for example, ask them to tell you about things that has happened, which is connected to your brand or your product. I know many companies who do that, and freely they get just customer stories, and you make a design on the internet that you don't get like 4 pages but just like 800 signs or things like that. So you can get stories for free, and to make those stories come, you might even say that the best 2 stories get a free stay on my hotel, or can choose from our store or anything like that. That makes people more willing to tell their stories. So realize that stories is a very important part of building a company, small or big. And as a small entrepreneur, it's as important. And the first story is when you got your first idea that led to this business. And then you just keep on telling. And if you have a dream, a vision about how you want it to be in the future, even those stories are to be found, because somebody says something, your customers or your employees and your family or something like that. Think if we could do this way. And by starting talking about an idea that has not yet happened, you can make it happen. So you can build future by telling stories about the future that you have almost seen through him or her. So that's a part of the storytelling and story listening awareness. And in the end, the best story wins. Because we are all human. All customers are humans. Best story wins. That's the truth.